Hey there, welcome back to The Empowered Edge, the podcast where we unlock your best self through optimal health, a resilient mindset, and lasting habits. I'm your host, Jenna Hostetler, and today we are wrapping up our three-part series on sugar cravings, gut health, and weight loss with nutritionist Stephanie Grosvenor. Today we're shifting gears a bit, and instead of focusing on what to eat or what to not eat, we are talking about something just as important and very different, learning to listen to your body. Your body is constantly sending you signals through cravings, fatigue, bloating, even joint pain. But most of us ignore the signs or feel frustrated instead of realizing that they are messages meant to guide us. Body awareness is not just about recognizing symptoms, it is about learning to work with your body instead of against it. Way back in episode 11, we talked about the power of gratitude, and this is a perfect example of a practical way that practicing gratitude can improve your health. So if you've ever struggled to understand what the heck your body's trying to tell you, or if you've just felt stuck in an endless cycle of frustration, I think you'll find this conversation extremely helpful. Let's dive in. So can you talk a little bit about body awareness, which is kind of what you've just been speaking about a little bit, but I know that's something that you work on with people. So what is body awareness, and how do you get people starting to really be aware of what they're doing and how they're feeling?
So body awareness, it's quite a big topic, and that is a beautiful process to go through. Body awareness doesn't happen overnight either, just like anything. Um, my first sort of thing that I would tell people or that we work on is just realizing that signs and symptoms that you experience are just messages to you. They're signals. And it's often we might feel let down by our body or annoyed because of the symptoms we have. We don't have any energy, our joints are hurting, we suffer with migraines, we constantly bloated with everything we eat, and we get irritated because our body is not working properly. But if we can shift that mindset into a space of gratitude instead of frustration, to say, I'm so grateful that I have these symptoms because my body is talking to me. We cannot stand in front of the mirror in the morning and look at ourselves and know exactly what is going on internally. I wish we could, but we can't. So the only way our body can tell us if there's a disruption inside, if there's an imbalance, if there's a parasite, whatever it is through signs and symptoms. So it is a blessing that our body communicates with us. The problem is that we don't listen. It's just a bit of bloating, whatever. I've had it for 10 years. I'll be fine. It's just headaches. I've had it for long. There's nothing I can do about it. Instead of asking, well, why? My body's trying to tell me something. What is it trying to tell me? And you might not know what it's telling you. And that's why it's important to work with a functional doctor or work with a coach or do some research to figure out what it is telling you. But this is where it's important to get reconnected to your body and start to see what are the things that you are experiencing? What are the things that you are feeling? Take a list, make a list of every kind of symptom that you've experienced or sign of maybe ill health that you've experienced over the last 3 months and get connected. Like, you might not even notice the bloating anymore because it's been there for so long. But start to get connected to your body. Your body has the answers, you have the answers. But just start to pay attention. So first of all, with body awareness, I just like people to get clear on what is happening, like what are the symptoms they're experiencing. Second of all, I think there's just so many ways that we can tackle this. So when it comes to body awareness, I like to look at it more from a mental aspect or talk about it more as self-awareness and self-worth. Because a lot of the time we are so disconnected to who we are. We are not taking the time out to look after ourselves. We are not taking the time out to prioritize any kind of self-care. Self-care is not selfish. We have a lot of negative self-talk going on about us. So we don't want to pay attention to ourselves. We don't want to look at ourselves. And the moment you walk past a mirror or you walk past your reflection, you turn your head because, oh my gosh, I can't actually look at myself right now. I can't face what I'm seeing in the mirror, regardless of what you look like. There's a self-worth conversation, as a value of self that needs to be had. Because you're not going to bring any awareness around your body if you can't even look at yourself, if you cannot allow yourself that space to get to know yourself and to actually fall in love with who you are. How many people can say they are deeply in love with who they are? It's not many.
Very few.
Very few. And I always tell my clients, you will only look after something that you value. If you buy a pair of sunglasses on the side of the road for $4, you're going to throw them around the house, you're going to leave them on the floor of your car, you might sit on them a couple times, whatever. But if you're buying a pair of sunglasses for $600, that pair is always going in its case. It's being cleaned with the proper spray and the proper cloth, and you're going to go out of your way because it's something that you value. And it's no different for ourselves. When you can learn to love and appreciate and value yourself, you will naturally start taking better care of yourself. And that is when you are willing to pay attention to your body. That is when you are open to pouring out loving words and loving thoughts over yourself instead of negativity. My body is broken, I'm sick, there's nothing I can do, I'll never lose the weight. Like, the conversation becomes completely different when you take a moment to actually start to learn to love yourself just as you are, just as you are. And you might be somebody who wants to lose 20 pounds. That's okay. If that is your goal, that is fine. Keep going. But you need to learn to love where you are right now and who you are right now as you go through that process. Because I can promise you immediately, if you are looking at yourself right now and you do not like what you see in the mirror, not from a physical aspect, but if you cannot love and appreciate who you are, when you lose those 20 pounds, that attitude is not going to change. It's not going to change, particularly as women, we are always finding our faults. I used to be incredibly overweight. I was like 190 something pounds at one stage. And I always thought that if I could just lose the weight, things would be different. I would be happier. I would be more confident. Life would be perfect if I could just lose the weight. And I lost the weight when I fixed my gut and I started to take better care of myself. But I still looked in the mirror. And every single time I looked in the mirror, I saw the girl that was 190 pounds. I had massive body dysmorphia. I couldn't see the weight that I had lost. If I saw a picture of myself, I'm like, oh wow, I've lost quite a bit of weight. But in the mirror, I couldn't see it. And I used to still say, why are your hips so big? Why is your stomach so big? Like, why are your boobs so saggy? All this kind of thing, the same conversation. It never changed. I still didn't love myself. I do now. I definitely do now. So that is something that is very important. Learn to love yourself through the journey. If you want to make changes, that's great. If you've got big goals, that's great. But learn to love yourself and appreciate yourself now. Body awareness is being aware of this incredible, incredible body that you currently have. That every single day is fighting off 1,000,001 diseases that you don't even know about. That is keeping you alive. You have no idea what your body does for you every single day.
That's incredible. That's a really good way to end this today because, and fixing your diet, fixing your gut, losing weight, it's never easy. It's super hard. And if you don't see the end goal as being worth it, or you're not worth the time, it's never going to happen. And if you're expecting whatever result you're trying to achieve to make you happy to make your life fulfilling, and then you get there and it's not, because that's not what the problem was to begin with. Like you're never going to be happy, and nothing's ever going to be good enough. And then, that goes back to, how can you serve people when you can't help yourself? So, yeah, finding ways to be happy with where you are now, regardless of what your health is like, regardless of what you don't like to see in the mirror, because that makes the ability to get to your end goals a whole lot easier, I think.
Definitely, it does. And accepting where you are now doesn't mean settling for where you are. It's if you are overweight to a point that it is dangerous for your health, of course you want to lose those extra pounds so that you can live a more fulfilling, longer, healthier life. So it doesn't mean settling for where you are, but accepting where you are, loving yourself for where you are while you work to get to where you want to be. I promise you now, it's going to be a much happier, more enjoyable journey if you can love and approve of yourself as you go along.
Isn't Stephanie just incredible? She shared so much wisdom during this interview, and I really enjoy getting to know her. And I've really had to become very aware of what my body is telling me, and it really is a choice to either listen to it, be grateful it's telling you something that's wrong, and to do your best to fix it. Or you can be annoyed and you can be angry that it's warning you. You can ignore it. And in the long run, you will suffer because you choose resentment over gratitude. And what really stood out to me was this: loving who you are doesn't mean settling for where you are. You can have big goals, you can want growth and change, and you can still love and appreciate yourself in your imperfections. Because the truth is, you will not take care of something that you don't value. And if you're constantly criticizing yourself, ignoring your body's signals, or waiting until you arrive at your goal to feel good enough, you are making the journey far harder than it needs to be, and you will likely never even hit your goals. And this is another area where it's really common for people to have all or nothing thinking, because they believe that if they love themselves, it means they are condoning every bad decision they've ever made, and that is just not true. You do not have to be or appear perfect to love yourself, and you don't have to despise who you are to want to be a better person. So if you found this series helpful, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's been struggling to kick those sugar cravings, lose the weight, or fix their gut. I know they will thank you. And as always, take action, stay empowered, and I'll see you next time.